Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Thousands of homes are still without power tonight. For some, it's been 6 days as the full impact of the wild weather starts to sink in. Mapping out the road to recovery is the next hurdle, with the government announcing emergency relief funds to help households get back on their feet.
Counting the cost of days in the dark, Beaconsfield residents are returning to the shops after a lengthy stint off the grid.
You just don't realise what you miss out on.
No.
Oh, absolutely freezing.
Throwing out fridges worth of food, the harsh reality.
I lost everything, so it's been tough.
Rolling blackouts still impacting around 13,000 homes and businesses today, with a timeline to restore power unknown.
We're working on the most significant outages first to get the greatest number of people back.
While line workers play catch-up, the recovery efforts turn to the household wallet. The state government announcing a $350 food fund for Tasmanians who've gone more than 72 hours without power.
We hope that is a suitable support during this particular time.
Assistance to fill trolleys acting as a welcome boost for already stretched budgets.
The program is designed to be set up very quickly, accessed very quickly, and funds deposited in bank accounts very quickly.
The disaster relief also stretching to community organisations. Loaves and Fishes and Food Bank each given a $50,000 grant and $255,000 for neighbourhood houses, helping them keep up with surging demand.
We cook tea for people, but mainly they were wanting to get their phones charged and have showers. We're taking a booking system for the showers now because that's been constant.
Extra support until more lights are switched back on.
Like winning Tats Lotto when I looked at the TV and the TV was on, I thought, yes, we're right.
Victoria Risto, 7 Tasmania News.
After a marathon 5-hour Fair Work Commission hearing, industrial action by TasNetworks line workers is being paused. They'd been back at work restoring power to tens of thousands of homes and businesses, but the union was accused of stalling reconnection to large customers, including mines, sawmills and wind farms.
Generators are important for this island. It's not merely to do with export. Generation on the island and load on the island balanced on the transmission system is how we keep the power system together.
Fair Work Commission signing with TasNetworks, issuing an order late last night that industrial action be suspended for 1 month under a clause related to endangering life or safety. Roads are reopening as residents in the Derwent Valley breathe a sigh of relief with the immediate threat of severe weather passing. Communities are now turning their attention to the mammoth clean-up, rolling up their sleeves to repair the damage.
It's a scene being repeated across the Derwent Valley. After days of wild weather, the clean-up is well and truly underway. For Tim, he hasn't been able to return home since Sunday evening, seeking shelter in a nearby hotel. He is also president of the New Norfolk Bowling Club.
I've been here all the way up. It's a fair bit of water.
The club looking at an $80,000 repair bill, with most of the damage done to machinery.
Some of it brand new, and we'll have to get it all renewed, refurbished, cleaned out before we start using it again.
Sections of the Lyle Highway and Glenora Road have now reopened, parts in dire need of repair. But it does mean areas such as Medina and Westaway are no longer isolated. Dozens of community facilities, buildings and homes are being assessed by the SES, locals banding together to help each other out.
And it brings communities together.
I think it's just shown how resilient we can actually be as well under the pump.
New Norfolk Lions Club providing food packages for those who were isolated due to floods without food and power.
We put together 40 plus food hampers. The bulk of them went out to Medina.
The government is providing support packages for those impacted by floods in the region. $250 is available for adults, with a $1,000 maximum grant for families. While it is a welcomed relief for those doing it tough, for many there's still a long way to go.
The $250 has been available for people that have felt themselves in a situation where they've been isolated as a result of rising waters.
Hell, Mother Nature, she deals it up, and we just got to be as ready as we can.
Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, it's Child Protection Week, but youth justice workers say there isn't much to celebrate. Unions are desperately calling for additional staff to help address the thousands of calls which continue to go unanswered, leaving Tasmanian children at risk.
1,500 paper cutouts rippling through the grass. A devastating reminder of the number of unallocated calls for advice and referrals regarding vulnerable children.
The impact on us at the moment is drastic. We're at a situation where it's crisis.
Child safety and youth justice workers descending outside Parliament House, calling for increasingly desperate staff shortages to be addressed by the state government.
Currently there are 45% of vacancies in the south of the state, and we know the northwest hardest hit still, 85% of positions are vacant.
A workforce package introduced by Minister Jensch in July boasted a $10,000 boost to pay and a market allowance, with a recruitment drive underway for areas most in need of staff. But unions have labelled it insufficient.
You only needed to talk to one worker to learn that that package was unfair and wouldn't work. So we're calling on the Minister to either come to the table and fix this problem or to step away and let someone else have a go.
We'll keep recruiting until we've filled all the vacancies and we have the workforce that we need to keep kids safe.
With the state budget around the corner, HACSU has their fingers crossed.
We have no idea what's going to be in that budget. Surely child safety would be the first priority for this government.
This fight far from over. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
One of Tasmania's driest areas will soon have a direct pipeline supplying Class A water from Blackmans Bay to Algona Street in South Arm. The $1 million underwater structure will provide recycled water for irrigation, firefighting capabilities and the wider community. The South Arm irrigation scheme has been in the works for more than a decade and is tipped to be a game changer, with the final installation of the 7-kilometre pipe happening this week. More than a dozen people experiencing homelessness are facing an uncertain future tonight after being told to move on from their campsite in Launceston. The Inveresk space provides much needed shelter to campers, but the council says the situation has become too dangerous.
Richard Graham has called this space home since May. Now he's been given a day to pack up and leave.
10 or 12 police officers came down in a couple of cars and served trespass notices on everybody.
The roundhouse has been used as a safe space for the past 2 years.
I came here because I was told it was undercover and that people were allowed to camp here and that they wouldn't get moved on.
Residents making the most of difficult circumstances by putting up privacy screens or plugging in a microwave. As winter drags on, the car park's population has swelled.
It's been an extra layer having the roof line here of protection from the weather, especially what we've been having at the moment.
But now the council says the situation poses a serious threat to car park users, telling around 18 people, some with pets, they have to find somewhere else to go.
I don't know where people are going to go, somewhere else that's illegal to be.
Claiming the council's received more than 30 calls from community members complaining of antisocial behaviour. Service provider Strike It Out says those accusations aren't fair.
People from the outside that come into the space to actually antagonise the homeless people, pick on them.
For now, all the campers can do is pack up what they have and try to find a new spot.
Yeah, I understand the council doesn't want us here, that's fine, but where can we go?
Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
Alarming new data from the Bureau of Statistics shows Tasmanians are among the almost half of Australians who aren't doing enough to protect themselves from the sun, with younger people more likely to be affected by the nation's leading cancer killer, melanoma.
At just 22 years old and with her whole life ahead of her, Daniela Marsha received news she thought she would never hear.
When I was 22, I was diagnosed with stage 1 melanoma, which was a huge shock.
After noticing a small spot behind her ear, she booked in for a checkup, and beneath the surface was something sinister.
Pretty traumatic time in my life. I had to go into surgery and they had to remove a quarter of my ear, which ended up resulting in 50 stitches.
Prior to her diagnosis, she did everything she could to be sun smart.
I was always that one that covered up, tried to get my friends not to sunbake and always told them, you know, slip, slop, slap.
But the deadly disease doesn't discriminate. It's the leading cause of death among young people, commonly affecting those aged 20 to 39 years.
We know that young people tend to be a little bit more at risk of getting sunburnt and going out, and particularly around tanning.
And despite Tasmania's cooler climate, there's no escaping the risks. Tasmanians are almost twice as likely to experience sunburn than other Australians due to the UV levels, with new data showing only 51.9% use 3 or more forms of sun protection.
In Tasmania, people might not realise that when it's a cold, overcast day, UV can still be 3 or above, so it's about UV, not heat.
2,000 Australians die every year from melanoma, with an estimated 19,000 people predicted to fall victim to the disease this year if they don't take precautions. But Daniela says being proactive with sun protection can be the difference between life and death.
And this is such a preventable disease.
She's now doing her bit as an ambassador for Melanoma Institute Australia, helping to cure our sunburnt country. Rebecca Gaydaneris, 7 Tasmania News.
The party's only just wrapping up for some members of the Queenstown Crows after winning the Darwin Football Association Grand Final. And it's not just the players celebrating the 13-point win over Somerset in at times terrible conditions. The victory is a point of pride for the region.
The people that you do walk into, it's the first thing they say, like, well done, and shake your hand. It's more than just a premiership for the football club, and even it's more than a premiership for Queenstown. It's the whole West Coast.
The club's playing coach, Lachlan, will be watching this week's NWFA decider carefully. They play the winner in the first annual Country Cup.
There is a fair bit of unknown, whether it's Sheffield or Mountain Preston. They're not going to know a whole lot about us. That's a little advantage for us, and obviously an extra week off compared to them. So any little advantage is a good one.
Queenstown's played the last 4 DFA deciders and won 2 of them. Australia is leading the group stage at the FIBA Under-18 Asia Cup, and Northwest basketballer Jacob Furphy is playing a starring role in their success. Furphy high scoring with 28 points against Lebanon, sinking 4 from beyond the 3-point line. Unbeaten so far, Australia play their last group game against Chinese Taipei in Lebanon tonight.
Good evening. Hobart and Bushy Park our top today with 20 degrees. Launceston and Devonport a bit far behind on 15, and after a cold start, Burnie hit 16 degrees. Temperatures hovered around average in the north, but up to 4 above average elsewhere. Grove, Campania and Ouse 19, Friendly Beaches 18, Strawn and Flinders Island 17, King Island and St Helens 16 degrees. Some high-level cloud over us today, some low cloud over elevated parts of the north. A frontal band of cloud pushes our way from the Nullarbor region with another south of WA, a little onshore cloud along the Queensland coast. Northwest winds at 20 to 30 knots because of this high pressure zone teeming with that cold front heading our way, and you can see the winds there now getting up to 30 knots, 35 knots over the west and south. A gale warning is on from Southeast Cape to Sandy Cape, a strong wind warning for remaining coastal waters and the inland lakes. Minor flood warnings continue for the Macquarie, Meander, Mersey, Derwent and North and South Esk rivers. Hobart tomorrow, a top of 20 degrees with a shower or 2, 19 for Cygnet, 20 the top for New Norfolk. Launceston, 95% chance of rain, 16 the high, same for Devonport, Campbelltown showery and 17 degrees. Burnie, a top of 16 and showers for Strawn, 16 as well and 17 for Smithton. And St Helens tomorrow looking at 18 degrees with showers on the way later, a shower or 2 for Swansea, 20 the top and 17 for Fingal. On Friday, showers more likely over the west and north, easing and contracting to the west later. Fine over the east and south on Saturday, but a few showers will push over the north from western regions, and on Sunday showers extending statewide, however fine for parts of the east coast. A cool showery day in Perth, 27 with a shower in Adelaide, showers easing from Melbourne, sunny in Canberra and Sydney, a partly cloudy 25 in Brisbane and perfect dry season weather in Darwin. Clear in Hobart at 16, just 12 in Launceston and 12 in Devonport as well. We're into spring, Kim, into hay fever season. Just a warning to everyone out there with a cat, keep them away from me.
You're allergic to cats all year though, Murph.